I would like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we record this podcast today, the Gubbi Gubbi people and the Jinnabara people. I wish to pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and also acknowledge the connection that First Nations people have to the Sunshine Coast community. In today's episode, we are tackling the biggest challenges that we as service-based businesses face in marketing. If you are a service-based business and you've got a team, you're investing time and money into marketing, but you're not really sure that it's hitting the point, then this episode is for you because it's going to take you through what those challenges are that you might be facing, but also give you some strategies and tips for how to overcome them. As a brand strategist, it's my job in this podcast, but also when I work with clients to help them work through these challenges. In my 16 years of working in this industry, within the service industry, I have seen these challenges firsthand. We face them at the Good Studio on a daily basis, and I've also helped countless clients solve these problems in their own business. On the flip side, because I've worked in the agency world with product-based businesses, I know that these challenges are unique to us as service-based brands. So one of the things that makes it really hard to market your business as a service provider is that what we do is intangible. So e-commerce, or if you walk into a bricks and mortar store, when you buy something as a client or a customer, you pick it up off the shelf or it arrives on your doorstep and immediately you can feel the product. There's effort put into unboxing in some circumstances. Packaging really is an experience in itself. And as a consumer who's engaging in that and going through that, you start to feel this sense of, oh yeah, I've got value for my money. But what we do is we provide a service, and as a consumer, you can't feel it, you can't see it. It's only the expertise or the guidance of something that is not real to touch. So how do we market that? I've got two examples to show you how we can overcome this. And the first one, it's a little bit out of left of field, but I think that's really good. So back when I worked for an agency and one of our clients was a national water utilities client, so already completely intangible. The project and the job that we were briefed on was to market the idea of safety and acting safe around water. So this is going to sound like a total long shot, but we did actually manage to do that. So let me talk you through how we did it. So we understood that safety and being safe around water is really important, but how can we make people do that? It's something you can't touch. It's, we could tell people to do that, but how do we actually have an effect? So the concept that we came up with was this idea in a campaign called Play It Safe. So it was also wrapped up in this idea of humor. So we'd have all these scenarios where you're around a dam or a lake and people are doing an unsafe behavior. So whether that is speedboating or jumping off something without really knowing the depth of the water, we had scenarios play out like this. We had a silly ranger who did things like popping out of the water wearing seaweed on his head and sort of reminded people at the time, like, hey, you've got to play it safe. So that was part one of the campaign. But the second year we took it even further and we engaged the community around us and asked them to take their own safety. So keep in mind, this was a while ago. I don't know if you remember, Facebook used to have this thing where you could run a competition, and competitions were really popular and common back then. So the idea and the challenge was take a picture of yourself, a selfie, call it a safety. You need to be doing something safe in the community and we're going to judge the best winner. When you do your selfie or your safety, you then go on to win a prize. And I love this example because I think it takes this idea that's something completely intangible, like being safe, and turns it into, I guess, real tangible things. And that's what we as service-based businesses need to work out how to do. Obviously, that example is a little bit unconventional. Let's make it a bit more real. So think about us as the Good Studio. What we sell is a service. There is a transformative part to it. We do, I guess, at the end of the day, do a logo or a website, and you can see those parts. But a lot of the work that we do in terms of brand strategy, it doesn't exist as a product that gets delivered to your table. So what we do is we spend a lot of time developing case studies. We do show off the more visual parts of a brand or a transformation that clients have gone through. But we don't forget to market that the way we got there is through brand strategy. That's a more traditional way. Other things that we do, this podcast, it helps our service feel a little bit more real. We invest in blogs, turning up to events. All these little things help you transform what you're doing as an intangible service into something that people can experience before they actually decide to engage you or work with you. The key is really trying to brainstorm what are some things that you can make tangible to your clients so that they can experience what it's like working with you before they actually do. Some ideas that I have, showcasing case studies. So this is such a great one because it really talks to the client experience and what it's going to be like working with you. Talk about at the start where the client was and where they got to or where they are today and what the future looks like. The second thing you can do is investing in educational content. So your clients don't know what they don't know. But if you can invest in educational content that showcases your expertise, you're already winning them over because you are helping them. And the third, it's a little bit more simple, but one that I see missed time and time again. Showcase your people. Invest in good photography or creative that really shows the people behind your business and your brand. It's overlooked in businesses of all size and all scale, but really people are what power businesses. The second thing that makes marketing and running a service-based business hard is the concept of inseparability and inconsistency. Bear with me, another couple of marketing buzzwords. It'll make sense by the end of this. What that really means is that when you provide a service, that service is tied to the people who deliver them. So as a small business like myself, the service that I provide is attached to me. Perhaps the team grows and there are other people who come into our team. However, when they join, if there's no process behind training and I guess ongoing work in that, then the service can become really inconsistent. And maybe this is something that you've experienced in your own business. We have a client, Premium Pilates and Fitness, and I absolutely love how they have overcome this challenge of inseparability and inconsistency. Now, we didn't have any part in working on this with them, but I've just seen as an outside observer what they have managed to create. So PPF is a Pilates studio in Brisbane. They have got 3 locations across Brisbane. Now, their brand, it's unlike a lot of other Pilates studios. Their culture is quite unique. They talk to a lot of women, a lot of mums. It's a really casual and inviting environment, and you can feel comfortable going there as a first timer. There's no kind of need to go in as an expert in Pilates. It's a safe space. This gives them a talent pool of people to work with who already understand the brand, they understand the PPF culture, and they understand how to deliver their experience in a really consistent way. So by adding another revenue stream, they've actually overcome the idea of inseparability and inconsistency in service-based businesses. Now, you may not be able to create a training program like that. Of course, there is demand to become a Pilates instructor teacher. That's why this works. So if you can't do that, the real keys to overcoming the idea of inseparability and inconsistency, it's about investing in training, systems, and processes. But it's also about investing time with your team and understanding their motivations, but also helping them understand the goals of the business. So the final challenge that I want to talk to you about as a service-based business that we face in marketing is the idea of perishability. Again, what does that actually mean? Services are perishable. Unlike a product-based business that isn't perishable, that can be stored in a warehouse and the stock sold at any time, service-based businesses are a little bit different. If we don't sell our time that we have available right now or today or in the next month that we have available, then that time is lost forever. Conversely, if we are too busy and we are at capacity, then we can't actually sell any more of our time either. Now, this can lead to that really frustrating feast or famine thing that I think almost every service provider can understand. So what do we do to overcome that? The thing that I see that it's missed, and it's in service businesses of all shapes and sizes, is the importance of a marketing funnel. So if you don't know too much about marketing funnels, we have an earlier episode on that we can put in the show notes. But in a nutshell, it's all about having an always-on marketing strategy that's rooted in your brand and your difference and your unique selling proposition and also creativity. But it's all about having a funnel that constantly talking to new audiences. So that's your top of your funnel. It's quite wide, it's quite broad. And then it's also about investing in time and energy and effort into marketing and helping those clients or ideal clients move through that marketing funnel from being aware of you, considering your service, and eventually engaging in your service, and then, of course, turning those clients into loyal advocates. So the other side of this, say your marketing funnel, it's working really well, your leads are flowing in, you've always got new ways of attracting, filling up the top of your funnel. The other side of perishability is that if you don't, you can't actually you make most of those leads, then you're at capacity. How do you manage that? And that's about putting systems and processes in places to make sure that your team is at their sweet spot of capacity and that things are scheduled out as well as they can be. At The Good Studio, we have experienced both ends of this spectrum. And specifically in 2023, time was a really limited resource then. And that's when I made the difficult decision to put our marketing on ice or on hold. And in full transparency for us, we actually see the effects for our service. They happen sort of 3, 6, 12 months down the track. So we're at the stage now where we get perishability. What we need to do is grow our marketing. And that's why you're seeing things like this podcast popping back up again. But at the same time, because we've been on the other side when we're kind of like too busy for what we can handle, it's all about putting systems and processes in place for organizing work and making sure that we're ready to handle things when they turn around. So with perishability, we know it's a real thing, but as service-based businesses, we really need to be focusing always on the marketing, but being a brand-led approach, but also making sure that when the work comes in through the business, that there are systems and processes to serve that. So there we have it. We've just covered 3 main challenges that service-based businesses face when they are marketing. Just to recap, the first is that what we do as service-based businesses, it's intangible. So we need to find ways to make that tangible through our marketing and our branding. The second is that services are intangible from the people who provide them, and that when you add more people to your team or your service provision, then there can be inconsistency. So this is all about investing in training and upskilling, but also relationships with your employees and your team. And the third is that a service is perishable. So if you don't sell what you're doing today or in the next month, then that time is gone forever. So we always need to be focusing on our marketing, having a marketing plan in place, making sure it is brand-led, it's differentiated, but then also supporting that marketing plan with really good systems and processes that help you, maximize your capacity at that time. If you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe, hit follow so that you can see when we release new episodes. Next week is another Making Waves interview. I am sitting down with an amazing woman who is in the fashion industry and textiles, but more importantly in circular manufacturing. So if you're interested in business, sustainability, or fashion, definitely listen to this episode. You're going to learn so much.